I don't think it's overstating anything to say that I was the first female to bring notoriety to our field as Minnie the Moose, the Vernon Community College baseball team's mascot. I once held the splits for the entire length of an extra inning baseball game in spite of excruciating pain and a severe severing of my adductor longus muscle that eventually required 4 hours of surgery and added 2.5 inches to my left leg, forcing me to retire. I wrote a tale documenting that journey, a moosing grace, a mascot's journey to God and success in real estate.
TBTL.
In the next hour, we will present information that's both shocking and enlightening.
This need you have to be the smartest guy in the room is off-putting.
I mean, I understand how people can love podcasts. They've never fit into my day. I just have never gotten into the habit.
It isn't so much about what it is altogether. It's more about the modulation and what it is once it starts. It's a little bit of a groove.
Can you say apple? Apple. Can you say banana?
Okay, T-Bone. Time for some serious crunching.
Well, all right. Hello, good morning, and welcome everyone to a Wednesday edition of TBTL, the show that just might be too beautiful to live.
Louis, what is that? I'm like, I don't know. What is it?
My name is Luke Burbank. I'm your host.
I've had a few.
A few what?
A few small beers.
Coming to you from the Madrona Hill studio, perched high above the mighty Columbia, where it is absolutely storming out there.
Oh, my God!
Sideways rain, deck furniture blown about, hot tub covers dangerously close to blowing off of the hot tub.
Man, it is nasty out there.
It is just an absolutely awful weather day here. But as we like to say, it is warm and dry here inside the studio as we arrive at episode 4,681 in a collector series.
Let the fun begin.
Although it's actually not that warm. It is dry. Just checking for leaks. You know, my dad and I, this was a garage when I bought this little house. And my dad and I took all of the ceiling out and then put in these trusses and then insulated it and then put up this shiplap. And I'm actually kind of impressed with us that it's not leaking. The rain is not coming in, but it is still freezing in here. I've got on like multi-layers of clothing, and I am ready to do the show and ready to tell you about something that happened in Oman at a camel beauty contest that has dissolved into scandal.
I'm gonna get you drunk off my lady hump, my hump.
Illegally augmenting the humps of camels. What is next, my friends? Oh, here's what's next. This dude, longest running co-bro of the show, maybe best known for his depictions of the tall ships.
Jalapeno!
He's Andrew Walsh. He's joining me right now. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning, Luke. I received a text message with some amazing, dazzling details.
Some amusing
details. By the way, could you hear? I didn't realize my microphone was open during the intro tape today as I had to rush out of here and open up the back door for the construction workers who are working on the house. Not construction, whatever. I can't think of the right word. But
it's construction, wouldn't you say? Contractors?
Yeah, I guess so. Contractors. By the way, starting to actually see some
I'm getting photos, my friend. I've got a whole side channel going with your partner and a rodent.
Anyway, could you hear me talking in the background? I find it hard to believe you really couldn't. Wow, amazing.
But Andrew, this is the thing, and this is what people who don't do this job will never understand. I go into a flow state at the top of the program where I just block out everything, and the game slows down, and I'm laser focused and locked in on saying my little stuff and playing my little sound effects. So maybe the listeners heard you talking to the contractors or doing whatever you were doing. I didn't hear you because I'm in, as Kevin Calabro used to say when a Supersonic was playing really well, he said, he's in another time, another place. All he can see is white light.
Oh.
That's basically my state of mind when I'm beginning the show.
Well, I'll go back and listen to it. If it's sort of interesting based on this conversation, I'll just leave it in. And if it's really bad and distracting, I will swap it out for clean audio. The listeners know more about this than I do at this point. Here's the text message that I received, and I'm going back. I don't have this person saved in our system yet, but they will be saved. This is Steven in Brooklyn who texted me. And let me know about something. Luke, today, March 11th, at 3:33 p.m.,
okay,
it will be the literal 35th anniversary of the very minute Dabney Coleman's character got ticketed in that 1991 episode.
Because there's
Columbo.
a timestamp on it.
Yes. So Steven was texting me over the weekend saying, hey, thanks for the recommendation on that episode of Columbo starring Dabney Coleman. We really got, and he and I kind of started dissecting the show a little bit. And then this morning he sent me this screen cap, which I don't even know if you can see. This is a screen cap that I'm holding up on my phone.
Yeah.
But it is basically a shot of the photo ticket. And this was during an age of film cameras, by the way, but a photo ticket that Dabney Coleman's character received at exactly 15:33. And of course, this is Los Angeles, so that's Pacific time. And
so happy Dabney Day to all who celebrate.
Happy Dabney Day. That was March 11th, 1991. I don't know exactly when the episode came out, but that's when the ticket was issued within the episode. I mean, and the fact that it's not like, Steven's not like, oh, and it happens to be the 32nd anniversary. It's the 35th anniversary. Like that is when we celebrate, right? You and I are going to celebrate our 35th.
It's not a round number, but it's a meaningful number.
It's a
like
meaningful
if it was
one.
32, it wouldn't be as great, or 38. 35 has a sort of a kind of a roundness to it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's one that you're going out to a nice restaurant. You know what I mean? You're taking the episode out to a nice dinner or something.
You're trying to convince the episode that you have not completely and totally stopped trying.
Right, exactly. You're going to white-knuckle your way through a pleasant conversation with your Dabney Coleman Columbo episode.
Well, I love that you guys can share that together. And you were saying that the listener Steve, you said?
Steven, yeah.
Steven was watching it and saw the timestamp and flagged this for you.
Apparently was watching it over the weekend and had some notes. We could go over our conversation, but honestly, I have given so much time. I have awarded so much of this podcast's time to that episode of Columbo.
More than I would have imagined, if I'm being honest.
You don't want me to get into the more details of us breaking down this episode. And I don't know if I had mentioned to you that one of the actors in this episode is actually Peter Falk's real-life wife, 22 years his junior, as we learned.
Wow, I didn't. But this is the same episode where he's wearing the no freaking idea hat.
Exactly, the NFI hat. But there's a character who plays Dabney Coleman's assistant, but also sort of a somewhat blackmailing assistant. I mean, listen, obviously, I don't want to spoil it too much.
No,
people need another 35 years, then you can spoil it. But that's
Steven. Your next project is the Dabney Coleman opus "Hot to Trot."
Ooh.
Featuring a horse that I believe has the voice of Bobcat Goldthwait.
You're being sarcastic, but you piqued my
I'm not being
interest.
sarcastic. That's another Dabney, and I'm not even looking at IMDb. I think I saw it when I was a kid, so yes, I thought it was good. I feel like it was sort of like an updated Mr. Ed. Because the horse talks, but his voice is Bobcat Goldthwait, and the kind of like weird voice that he used to do that he doesn't really do anymore, which I thought was his real voice.
Yeah. Okay. So
for many years.
Can we? This looks like an old school style trailer. It came out in 1988. So
it's possible we've played this trailer before, but yes, let's do it. I want to hear it.
Really? Because none of this rings a bell to me, but it does look like, if I'm seeing this right, Bobcat starts off as a human being.
Oh, and
because
does he like go? He Freaky Fridays into the horse or something?
You know more about this than I do, but I am seeing shots of him, and it looks like Dabney might be his boss or something. I'm guessing that maybe he's somebody who's having a tough time at work at first. Let's see.
You can't be a broker. I got a big deal cooking right now on the burner. Who in the right mind would give you their money?
Fred Cheney's going through hard times.
Get him out of here, Osborne. I don't care what it takes.
But he's about to get some badly needed help.
Fred, we've got to talk.
Straight from the horse's mouth.
Ah, jeez, don't scream like that.
Okay, so
wait.
he does not play
John
the
Candy
horse.
is the voice
That's
of the
John
horse,
Candy's
not Bobcat
voice.
Goldthwait.
Did you just recognize that, or were you looking it up? Wow, good job. I didn't recognize it.
Bop, loop, bop, lam, bam.
So prepare yourself for a motion picture
in here.
So astounding.
He's right.
That's kind of funny. Bobcat is standing right next to a giant horse inside of a building, and somebody says, "There's a horse in here," and he says, "Where?" I know that
Now, let me
audio
ask
didn't
you a
quite
question.
pay off, but that made me laugh.
I'm hearing Tutti Frutti. Now, they don't cut to any shots of Little Richard, do they?
Oh,
They're
my
just playing the
God,
song.
another
Because that would be another parallel
connection
to your beloved episode
to the
of
Dabney
Columbo.
Coleman episode. What if Dabney only does things with connections to Little Richard? He's
It's
like,
on his rider.
There has to
Little
be.
Richard has to appear, however briefly, in every project that Dabney Coleman was part of.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Anyway, I guess I got to talk about what I wanted to talk about. You can have the rest of the show.
Well, Andrew, I think that my soothing sound is giving me demented dreams, is what I want to talk about.
Oh,
with you.
okay.
You know
Sounds
how
good.
I have started to use this, not so much a fan noise, but I'll just play it for you. This is on the white noise, like the fan app that I ended up just actually paying for, so it unlocked a bunch of stuff on my phone, including that sound.
Makes me ready to watch a Star Wars movie. Sounds
It
like
concerns
that
me that I
VHS.
have become addicted to it, and I'm not even addicted would be too strong of a word, but the amount of time that I am spending listening to this now. I mean, first of all, if I'm sleeping, it is now a given, and what I'm doing now is, when I'm here by myself, is I plug my iPhone in so that it doesn't die in the middle of the night, and I play this really loud, and I put it under my pillow like a child with a tooth waiting for the tooth fairy. And it kind of muffles it, but it also kind of, the vibration comes up through the pillow into my ear canal and is kind of comforting. So now it's not enough to just have it sitting on the nightstand. Now I've got to actually have it underneath my pillow. And I've been doing this when I've been traveling in hotels and things like that. But I had the craziest dreams the other night. It kind of, not, I guess you could say sort of violent. It was somebody trying to break into the house, and someone had committed some kind of a violent crime in the house, I think while I was owning it, but I wasn't here. It was unclear if that person was still in the house or not. It was like, I don't usually have a lot of like kind of dark dreams like that. And when I woke up, I was just enmeshed in this sound. And for some reason, maybe because I was coming out of a sinister dream, it stopped sounding good to me and started sounding like maybe ominous. Could you hear this as an ominous sound?
Yeah. By the way, keep that going. I want to keep that going. I want to hear this over top of it. Hold on.
Yub nub.
I love those two over top of each other.
Wow.
Listen,
THX, pretty cool.
This is a true story. I am not listening to that sound when I go to sleep. However, I have had 2 home invasion dreams in the past couple of weeks, including
That's
one.
weird.
I told you that I've been having some pretty kind of. Actually, they've subsided a bit, but for a while there, for many weeks in a row, maybe a whole month, I was having a lot of kind of bad dreams. But they were bad dreams. And I promise you, I'm not going deep into dream talk here, but they were the type of dreams where in the dream, it's not like when growing up, if I had a nightmare, I thought of something that would like scare me so bad that I wake up in the middle of the night with a start and then it's hard for me to go back to bed. I wasn't having dreams like that. I was just having long cinematic dreams that then I would wake up and be like, what the hell is wrong with your brain? Like, why was that so dark? But then the other day I had a home invasion dream that startled me awake, like heart pounding, Luke, heart pounding. Like there was somebody outside my window. I thought it was one of the contractors.
The person was outside my window and it woke me up.
I opened the door for them because I thought it was one
kind
of
of
the
looked
workers.
like Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, this person
He wasn't that person, but that was the visage of him.
This person pushed the door open in my face, and then suddenly I realized this is an invasion. And then like I just woke up like with somebody like kind of punching the door open and pushing me backwards, and then and Genevieve is behind me, and just this realization that, oh my God, things are about to get really bad. And then I wake up just like, I don't think I was sweating, but I think I was shaking. So anyway, it might not be the noise. It might just be that you and I, for some weird reason, have a bunch of stuff. What do you always say about dreams? Quoting, I think, Rick and Morty, something about chewing on
big fat
fat
brain,
problems.
looking for big fat problems to chew on or something to that effect. Maybe, although just to be safe, I have now switched it, Andrew.
Yeah.
That thing that I was playing is called Soothe. For the last 3 nights, I've been listening to something called Healing Calm.
Oh, I like that. Oh, yeah.
This is my new sound.
That makes sense. This is way less ominous.
It does feel like I'm back in church. Dear Lord Jesus, we just come before you right now, Lord Jesus, and we just ask, Lord, that you would minister to Luke in his dream so he would stop imagining that Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs has been committing killings in his house when he wasn't there and now is looking through a window into the house. And we just praise your name, Lord, and we thank you for taking care of our brother Luke in his very messed up dreamscape. Now, the only problem with this noise, and I don't know if it's going to do it on this recording that I have, but it gets a little ambitious at some point, if that makes sense. In other
There's
words,
a drum solo.
Neil Peart makes an appearance.
Yeah, it's a questionable choice.
Because what these sounds need to be, by the way, this doesn't quite have it. If I played it for longer, you would hear it. Basically, these things are just a drone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a droning sound, which is fine because it's so not specific that my brain doesn't really get tired of it. But my new one, Healing Calm, it does have a part later on where it gets a little bit too clever with the tune. And then when I've heard it for the 30,000th time, I'm noting that, it's back to that part where it does that thing. You kind of need it to not have any of those parts. It needs to just all kind of blend into one infinity sound of me not wanting to listen to what my brain sounds like.
Yeah, you don't want to feel like, there's something coming up. You never want to feel like, this is the part of this. It should just always sort of feel like a new ever.
Because I'm listening to it for so long.
It should be the infinite scroll of sounds.
Yes,
you know what I mean. I know exactly what you're talking about when it comes to that. And it's no surprise. I mean, it's just funny how it's such a simple sound you're listening to, and this is where my inability to understand or discuss music is going to set me back. But you basically take the same thing, but you just shift some of those notes up higher, and it does have what I would say to be a pretty obvious mood shift. Right? One sounds ominous.
So this one
sounds like you're floating on clouds. The other sounds like you're kind of like creeping along the ground.
This is Soothe, and then this is
now you're rising above it. I can almost see clouds.
Dearly beloved,
with this one.
We've gathered here together today.
Oh, there's an accent now.
Talk about this thing called life.
Whoa, you do your own echo.
Electric word that means forever. I'm forgetting what does he say in the little.
I don't know what you're
intro
doing. I thought you were just riffing.
I was trying to do the beginning of
great.
Let's Go Crazy by Prince.
Oh, geez. I didn't even get that joke.
So when you're talking to that shrink in Beverly Hills, Mr. Everything's going to be all right.
Okay, now I hear it. Oh, man, I wish you could do that again. Only
I know.
Now I know the joke.
But
I really
accurately
ruined.
also.
No, I mean, I ruined that by not understanding pop music.
The other thing that happened to me last night was I had a very nice time texting you about the World Baseball Classic.
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
A fun game, and I was,
yeah.
Listen, I can't celebrate elements of the game for myself because it will trigger people in the listening audience, but let's just say you brought me around to this idea of actually rooting for a team that was not the United States. It was Italy versus the U.S., and boy, am I glad that I did that because Italy ended up winning. And I, let's say there was a small remuneration.
When you said it's going to upset people in the audience, I was like, all the political stuff we were talking about yesterday. You made an investment. You made a short-term.
I did. I made an investment in our future
during yesterday's ball game
in Team Italy, which was a very long shot. Type of situation.
Yeah.
And so then it's amazing how quickly my nationalism and my pride in America goes right out the window if I can make a little bit of money on Italy.
If only there were a word for something like mercenary. If only there were a word for something like that, where you could just switch
Amoral.
loyalties based on income. Interesting. That was a lot of fun. And well, I mean, I want to follow up with that, but to be totally honest with you, like, I had a wonderful conversation with you about baseball on the show yesterday that went so far beyond baseball. I hope everybody enjoyed at least some part of that conversation.
Somebody
found
did, because you sent
something.
me a note from
I got
somebody
a really
who
nice
liked
note
it.
from somebody who said, oh, that, you know, actually a couple of people weighed in, but I know that it was like kind of very sports heavy, but I do think that it was one of those things where sports was a conversation that was carrying a conversation about other things. But having said that, anything that I want to tell you right now about my experience of watching that game last night will lead to what I would be afraid would be straight up baseball talk. So
Well,
what
how
you're
about this?
hearing from me is an attempt to be restrained.
This is not straight up baseball talk. This is the next phase of the Randy Arozarena and Cal Raleigh dust up, which you brought up the other day, and it was sort of breaking news actually at the time, somewhat, that the Mariners catcher Cal Raleigh would not shake hands with Randy Arozarena, who was playing for Mexico and is his teammate on the Mariners. And that Randy Arozarena then gave a press conference where he basically said, "You can stick that up your keister."
Yeah.
It went off. He referenced Cal Raleigh's parents, although in a positive way, but even so. And I was trying to sort of, in my own mind, talk myself into this being like a bit between two buddies, and it is not. Cal Raleigh, I guess, just said, look, when I'm playing for Team USA, I don't shake hands with the other players, which I think we both agree is a really silly move. Like,
yeah.
I mean, grow up.
He didn't even
right?
quite say that. That's the thing. Like,
what did
he
he
wouldn't answer. He wouldn't specifically say why. When asked why, he just
He
kept
wouldn't
saying,
answer if he was sleeping with Corey Lewandowski. He just said, I'm not going to peddle these tabloid rumors. Is that a yes or a no, Cal?
Well, he kind of, honestly, that's what they do, right? He's like, I just
Yeah.
wish this wasn't a big deal. That was his main statement. Then somebody said, but can we say why you didn't shake hands? He just said, I just wish this wasn't a big deal. This isn't a big deal. I love Randy. And he kept saying how much he loves Randy and how, you know, like he didn't want this to blow up. But he never said, I'm sorry. He never said, I should have shaken hands at the plate. He just kept saying, in that moment, you're just really focused. And when you put on these jerseys, you're really playing for the team that you're playing for. In other words, his loyalty was with Team USA in that moment. The implication here is, and not with his Mariners teammate. I think that's a really bad look. I think that's
so silly.
And now Randy... I guess
Now, Randy kind of
he goes
escalated
off. He
things.
escalates it. I think it's a big deal when you're talking to the press and you're literally swearing about your teammate, you know, who you're going to be playing with in a couple of weeks. Like, I don't think that was great either. I think I generally side more with Randy only because I feel like, I don't know, Randy's just a little bit more, well, just in the moment. I think Cal should have shook his goddamn hand.
I mean,
it's a
this
game.
is
Like, shake your brother's hand. Like, what are you doing?
I mean, it's not, exhibition. They're playing for, real trophies or something, but it is I think of it as something that's about sort of international celebration of this game that people love. Like, again, it's not the All-Star game, and it's not an exhibition game, but it's not Game 7 of the World Series, and you're Cal Raleigh in the catcher's position, and somebody from the opposing team is trying to dap you up.
Exactly.
So,
I'm pretty bummed about that when it came out later that day. Like, I think I said this to you on the show. Like, I had a lot of trouble talking myself into the idea that this was a bit. Just knowing what you know about these players, they don't have that sort of jocular ball busting kind of rapport, but. Listen, the question is, how much does it really matter in the long run? Like, I think I was listening to a podcast yesterday where I felt like they were a little bit too dismissive and sarcastic about this not being a story. I think it's something worth talking about. I think it's just interesting from a human relation, just a human relations, not an HR standpoint, but just like literally how humans relate to each other. I'm with you, Luke. Honestly, I think Cal should have shaken literally anybody's hand who came up there, even if it was a player who doesn't play in the major leagues but was playing on Team Mexico that night, or somebody that maybe plays for, I don't know, the White Sox or whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, I think you're right. The spirit of these games, while competition is important, and not to dismiss the idea of, maybe bringing home a trophy for your country. I'm glad that's important to him, but that's a Boner move, man. You're there to celebrate not just the countries, but also the sport that brings those countries together. I think I'm repeating what you said there, but I really liked it.
Yeah, I mean, like
Houston, we have a boner.
I mean, if
Sorry
you
for
think
all the
about
blue
like
language.
if you think about like some guy, I mean, one of the things that's cool about this World Baseball Classic is you do get some people who are not likely to have a major league career. In fact, you know, they're working as like a plumber or an electrician for most of their income, and then they're doing baseball stuff. And like for that person, presumably it'd be kind of a thrill to like get to shake hands with this guy who hit all these home runs last year in Cal Raleigh. He's kind of a big star in the league now. And the idea that Cal Raleigh would not engage in that kind of behavior because they're the opponent is, I mean, I'm hoping you and John Sklarov and I were kind of messaging about this a little bit this morning. And also Cal had a shirt on that's like a little kind of, I don't know, was that handed out by Team USA? Some kind of military jargon on it or something. I don't think I was ever under any illusions that Cal Raleigh had, like, let's just say, good takes on things. I didn't know what his takes were.
Was your first clue that his name is Cal Raleigh? Like, you dropped that name on me in the middle of the night without any context. I'm like, yeah, that guy.
Was your dream that Cal Raleigh was looking through your window?
Yeah, he was looking at me through the ballot box window.
But like last year was just such a dream because he just played so well, and it seemed like anytime he popped up, it was just, at worst, he was very bad at acting in local commercials. But there was nothing coded. I didn't see him backing his truck in. By the way, thank you, whoever sent me that. I'm going to find this later. I think it might have been our friend David, actually, from the Smittens. It was like a tweet or a blue ski or something where basically somebody said, name something that's not MAGA but feels MAGA coded. I'll go first. People who back into parking spots.
Oh, somebody else said that. Oh, that's so
I think
funny.
David said, if you've ever want to feel validated, here you go, buddy. But I didn't like last year. Cal Raleigh just didn't, that I remember anything anyway, do anything that seemed, again, coded in some way. He didn't show up at the White House, or didn't go play golf with Trump or whatever, whatever Aaron Judge, the guy from the Yankees, does and stuff. And he wasn't wearing anything that was kind of troubling to me. And so I guess I was able to just kind of file, not interrogate the question of like, what's Cal Raleigh's deal? And again, I'd rather that he didn't shake Randy Arozarena's hand than he was like stumping for Kristi Noem or something. By the way,
can I just clarify one thing? I mean,
please.
Unless I'm unaware of it, I don't know that Judge is going out like stumping or going. The only
but
connection.
Hasn't he been to the White House though?
Did the Yankees go to? Yeah, maybe he did. I know that Trump was in the clubhouse, like maybe in the locker room with the Yankees, and I know that Aaron Judge was like, yeah, this is great. He should come more often. We won
maybe
that
was
night,
it.
and so I just wanted to be clear that like. I don't necessarily know that the storyline that he's going around like trying to promote it or whatever. But
Sure.
I mean, my thing with these baseball players is there are some great exceptions. I would put, I think, Naylor on the list of exceptions. And I'm trying to think who's the Blue Jays, the old Blue Jays pitcher with the two different colored eyes, Max, is it Scherzer, who owned us last series?
Max Scherzer has two different colors. Is he a collie?
Wait,
Is he a herding breed?
Do you know? Is he the Blue Jays guy? There are
yes, but
three pitchers whose names I get confused. Yeah,
he's been with so many different teams that I guess I believe it or not kind of forgotten that he had landed there. He's older. He's one of those guys that just has been pitching forever. By the way,
yeah, and he dominated us in an important game, I think, in the playoffs last year. But
yeah,
anyway, like I've heard that he's like a really good guy. Like there are exceptions.
Oh, that's good.
There are people out there who I think have better politics, but generally speaking, like. I mean, if I'm going to put my politics in front of baseball, then I have to stop watching baseball.
Right. And also nothing that Cal has done vis-a-vis Randy Arozarena was political, other than being anti-immigrant, I guess, if you think about it. I mean, at a core level, that was a deeply anti-immigrant thing he did.
There's your take.
But there you go. Get me on Seattle Sports Northwest or whatever that station's called now. Yeah. But, I hope that Cal continues to or goes back to being sort of basically like unsweetened oatmeal, just personality-wise, just kind of bland, just kind of there, and just kind of managing to catch game after game after game and hit home run after home run after home run. That's all I want from him, and I would like him to stay out of various skirmishes because I feel like the more that I learn about just about any of these folks, the less good I feel about how obsessed with them I am.
Well, yeah, I mean, here's the deal. Like, just putting the politics aside, because, again, we went deep on that yesterday. My feelings about this are very, very nuanced. I don't mean to be dismissive about that. Like, for people who don't care about baseball and heard my comment might just think, well, then, yeah, maybe you should stop watching baseball or whatever. Like, I'm going to be pretty deeply uncomfortable with some player who I think is, like, going out and, like, actively promoting views that I find problematic. Clayton Kershaw putting Bible verses on his hat during Pride Night in a way of specifically saying, I don't stand up for Pride Night or whatever. Like, to me, that is something that you're going out of your way to tell me who you are, and I find that, and that's rough stuff. And I guess there's varying degrees of that kind of behavior throughout. And there's some where you're just like, well, look, I assume that, I mean, everything I know about this person, how they grew up, where they grew up, their age, their, like, you can just assume that they're probably not in lockstep with you on things and whatever. So there's all kinds of, gradations of that. But even just putting that aside, and this is a conversation that I don't even know that I want to have because I feel so terrible saying this. I didn't even want to have this conversation with you privately, but now here I am having it with you publicly. But, like, it's just the story has made me not like Cal as much. Like,
yeah, me too.
And I don't love that. And it's not even about all the other, like, kind of social or political indicators around it that are now bubbling to the surface. Like, just putting that aside, like, I don't really like that behavior. Generally speaking, just again from a standpoint of humankind. And I was going to text you something yesterday. There were a couple of things I was going to text you while we were going back and forth, and I deleted them because I felt like they were jinxy. And one of them I felt like was jinxy because I was rooting yesterday against the United States team and for Team Italy. And Italy, like you said, did have a very unexpected win yesterday. And what a game, right? Like, that was a hell
I am
of a game.
officially obsessed with Pasquantino.
Right.
I mean, those balletic splits he's doing to catch those balls are phenomenal for a man of his size.
And him bringing that celebration, that home run celebration to the
cappuccino or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And the kissing. I mean, that's the other thing too, right? Yeah.
And the blazers, that the blue wool blazer that I bought too many of in Italy.
But I was sort of thinking, like, oh, maybe what we're seeing out here today, the Team USA struggling to get even on the board. I was going to text you and be like, maybe this is what we should call the Cal curse. In other words, like, maybe there's something going on here because he didn't shake hands with Randy. Now, look, here's this unexpected upset. Most upsets are unexpected. But but anyway, but then I was scared to say, because I was like, what if I label this the Cal curse? And then the Cal curse follows us back to camp.
Right.
That
if you Rumpelstiltskin him or something.
And so that's why I didn't
some
want to
kind
have
of a
that
hex on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the irony is, and then we can thank some donors and we can move on from baseball talk. The irony is the Team USA losing yesterday means that the path for Team Mexico actually, like, I think getting out of our whatever you'd call it, pool or pod or something, I think it goes up pretty. Sort of, in a pretty drastic way. So, and that's who Randy plays for. So to the degree that Cal did some kind of, did find a monkey paw, like, even though America beat Team Mexico, now America does not look to be in the driver's seat anymore. Maybe that's because of him not being nice to his friend Randy.
Now, I want to clear something up here because a lot of people are wondering, like, kind of what this all means.
What the Dabney Coleman angle is.
What the Dabney Coleman angle is. What this means going forward for Team USA. They could be potentially eliminated from moving on to the next round today based on what other teams do, specifically this game between Italy and Mexico. And
they need Italy to beat Mexico, right?
They need Italy to beat Mexico, or Mexico to beat Italy within a certain number of runs. And that's what, and so I'm reading this newsletter today from The Athletic, right? The New York Times Athletic. And I can't tell which person wrote this particular segment. The newsletter is called The Wind Up. It's written by Levi Weaver and Andy McCullough. And one of them is here trying to break down what all the tiebreakers would look like and what this means. Because there's a big story. I mean, this is kind of interesting. There is talk about how the manager of Team USA kind of screwed up by not playing maybe he would have put Cal Raleigh in or whatever. They were confused. He thought that they had already gotten enough runs to advance to the next round, that he thought they had already basically clinched before yesterday's game, which is, some people could say, well, that's not good managing. Other people are saying that goes to the complications of this system, that the managers themselves don't even know what's going on. So this writer for The Athletic is trying to figure it out and says the first tiebreaker won't apply, but here is the next tier tiebreaker per the official rules. And this should clear everything up for you and everybody else, okay?
Sure.
The tied team shall be ranked in the standings according to the lowest quotient of fewest runs allowed divided by the number of defensive outs recorded in the games in that round between the teams tied. Okay?
Wait, that's the rules of the camel beauty contest.
It is so confusing. We
That
have
is
these writers,
incredibly
literally professional sports writers who are, I would say writing for The Athletic is damn near the top of especially print sports journalism, right?
Yes.
And this writer is like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to do. But here's he said,
next week on Pablo Torre Finds Out.
Yeah, we're going to find out who won the damn thing.
80-page expose on how the rules work.
This is still somewhat comical, but this is the writer saying, here's what he said. I even created a spreadsheet, and then I threw it away. I don't know what's going on, but this is what I think I know. If Italy beats Mexico, any score, any length, Italy and the USA advance. If Mexico beats Italy in 9 innings, scoring fewer than 4 runs, Mexico and Italy advance. If Mexico beats Italy in 9 innings, scoring 5 or more runs, Mexico and the U.S. advance. And it says if Mexico wins in extra innings, it's just the meme of Muppet saying, I'm going to keep it real with you, Chief. I don't know. It is so confusing.
I think I'm just going to take today off and just let the dust settle, and then, tomorrow, I guess, find out what the fate of the United States is. Although, honestly, like, as soon as and putting the money aside that I was betting against the U.S., it was amazing how quickly I lost all of my sort of national pride, because I just found the Italian guys so dang lovable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You got the guy Mario and Luigi at shortstop and second. I think they're brothers. Pretty sure they're brothers.
Are they? Do you know what they do when they're not playing baseball?
I think they're plumbers. I think they're literally plumbers.
Literally plumbers.
And also
In
princess kind of like renditioners. But they've had a very low success rate with that. They continually go to the wrong castle.
What's their stance on vines?
Does that make its way into... See, this is the problem when I start on any kind of a video game.
Don't they climb little vines?
I'm sure... Well... Yeah. There's vines in there. I was thinking of like King Kong or something. No, there's definitely vines. There's vines that grow out of something. I think of, and I'm talking the Mario Brothers that came with the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
whichever one that is.
Yeah.
That to me, I think of that really as a very brick-based.
I mean, it's brick, it's pipe.
Event.
I mean, obviously,
I think of a lot of brick punching. A lot of fire flower standing upon.
But there's a lot of pipe, obviously. They're plumbers. Yeah. They're running around the pipes a lot, and then they're climbing up those vines to get to things. And I guess at the end it's not a vine though, it's a flag. How you're running and then you're trying to jump on the flagpole as high as possible.
Yeah, and I feel like there was a rumor you could jump over the flagpole on certain levels. I don't know if I ever saw it. But that was like the legend.
Well, that was in the steroids
not the Legend
era.
of Zelda.
Yeah,
exactly.
Era.
There's an asterisk.
Yeah.
There's an asterisk next to every jump that Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa did to the flag.
But for real, the commercials for the Fox program, The War of David, didn't kind of win you over to America's side.
My goodness gracious. And the fact that it's the guy who played Shazam.
Is that who that is?
Yes. He's one of those actors that... It's hard to know what comes first. Is it that your career goes into decline, so you go increasingly towards sort of right-wing projects, or is it that that's how your brain is oriented, and so fewer people are bringing you kind of middle-of-the-road projects? That's what's happened to like Dean Cain,
Dean
television's Superman,
sure,
Kevin Sorbo, a.k.a. Hercules, Scott Baio, a.k.a. Bob Blah Blah.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
And
we already knew he was kind of off the deep end even during Arrested Development, didn't we?
I don't know if I knew very much about his politics at that time. And of course, at that time, there wasn't anything happening that was so polarizing the way it is now. Mm-hmm. But like, you know, these anyway. So that's he's that guy. His name is like Zach Levine.
Here, let me
maybe.
see if I can figure. For
That's
listeners who
also
don't know what we're talking
that's
about,
also a basketball player though, so I could be mixing them up.
there is something that happens to you when you're watching this game, and again, I'm trying to root. I'm legitimately trying to root for teams, not against teams. Although now that it's kind of out of their hands, I'm sort of rooting against the U.S. to advance because I think that would be funny. But also, you know, when we're watching these games, and I kind of alluded to this or mentioned this yesterday, we're watching them on a Fox property, Fox Sports 1, right? So you're seeing all these commercials that are things outside of things that I would usually see, including this promo that's in heavy rotation for David, King of Israel, some TV show that I don't understand what, or like miniseries that is hosted
It looks like
by
they
this
spared
right-winger.
every expense.
Oh yeah, and it's
on
just
the on the sort of set design, special effects, etc.
And if it's not that, then it's is it a Jeep? It's not a Jeep commercial. What is the Tea Party commercial that you and I were texting about? That's
some
just
kind
like
of a truck.
Yeah,
that's like celebrate. I mean,
it's just like it's all this stuff that you and I don't usually see. That is just like it makes you. And when you were sending me photos of like yahoos in the crowd who are dressed up and like just like the dumbest Uncle Sam Stars and Stripes stuff, and then you just see the Team Italy fans, and they're all just wearing Italy jerseys, and then you go into the dugout, and they're all doing Vinny's kissing cappuccino. Like they're literally celebrating by kissing each other on the cheeks.
It's
as you come out of
adorable.
a commercial of just like, we're America, we kick you in the balls. And you're just like, how could you possibly root for the U.S. in this case?
not to mention, and then we really will wrap this up for people that are not interested in this. I think that I got another hot take for you. I got a spicy take.
Mm-hmm.
On some level, you should kind of be rooting for your team to get knocked out ASAP.
Yeah.
Because now, granted, we have Mariners that are playing on other teams, such as Mexico, such as Italy.
Yep.
But so I guess really we're just talking about Cal Raleigh. And I guess Spires. But like, there's a certain argument that like the sooner Team USA is out, the sooner the chance passes that like Cal Raleigh could get hurt playing. Essentially not meaningful baseball. So, you know, like there's honestly probably the smartest approach as a fan is to kind of hope that we just go home and start focusing on our real jobs in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, no, that's a good argument too.
We was hoping for some razzle-dazzle.
Razzle-dazzle.
That's right, man, razzle-dazzle.
On your mark.
On your mark.
Get set.
Get set.
Now ready.
Ready. Go.
Everybody razzle, dazzle.
All right, let's thank some dazzling donors. These folks are donating a dazzling amount of dough to the program, and it is what supports the show. All of the donations from all the fine folks. These are particularly generous donations that are coming in from the dazzling donor level, and it is an honor and a privilege and humbling. It's all the things that Cal Raleigh should have done.
I would shake all of these dazzling donors' hands
in a minute. It would not matter what team they were on and what team I was on, because we're all on Team TBTL here.
Exactly.
We all want this thing to keep happening 5 days a week, all year long, and it is because of folks like Stephanie Lee, who is in Brooklyn, New York.
Stephanie
says, hello, I am so happy to be dazzling for another year. My message is, again, promoting my financial coaching and tax prep business, frequently taxed questions. Now, Stephanie has come up recently on the show because one of the other 10s heard this dazzling donor message last year and has retained Stephanie's services.
Isn't that cool? That's right.
Yes.
Stephanie also, for whatever it's worth, and I don't know that it's worth too much to you, but Stephanie is our official reader, our official literature reader on the Spotless podcast. If there
Amazing.
is a cleaning scene in literature that we need to address, we ask Stephanie to read it for us.
Stephanie says, my typical coaching clients want to improve how they manage their money and just need a little guidance from someone they can trust. And as if this needs to be said, but think about Stephanie's, resume, Stephanie's bona fides, as you might say, if you were on Team Italy. This is a person who supports TBTL. We know that Stephanie is a good egg.
Yeah.
We know Stephanie is a person who can be trusted. My goal is to provide a high-touch service at an affordable price, and I offer pro bono services. Houston, we have a Bono to people who ask.
That's a show title.
Last year, I worked with multiple 10s, all the way from Alaska to Missouri to New York, and I hope to meet more this year. I welcome and want to work with diverse clients of every type and have strict no judgment policy. I have a strict no judgment policy regarding personal finance. This is a very big point. I, when I was younger, did not pay my taxes, Andrew, I don't know if I was married at the time. I don't think my first wife would have let me get away with this. I think this might have I might have brought this into the marriage with me. Like just being overwhelmed, not really knowing how to do it, not filing my taxes, and then being very nervous about going into an accountant's office and saying, did I do that? Or in this case, did I not do that? And I was very nervous about it. And then eventually when we moved to Los Angeles, I went in and had a great accountant who said, this is fine. This happens. We can fix it. Here's what we do. And it was a massive weight off of my shoulders. So if you are somebody...
Did they tell you what you need to know is that you don't legally have to pay taxes. It's not in the Constitution. And
that's what my accountant, Dr. Spaceman, said.
That's what your accountant, Dr. Wesley Snipes, said.
Yes. Blade Accounting, LLC. Actually, I could have gone with Willie Mays Hayes from the
Build It and They
Major
Will Come?
League movie.
Oh, no, Major League. Oh.
Where he plays the center fielder, I think, for the then called Cleveland Indians.
Oh, is that the thing where Genevieve was listening to a podcast about that movie, and I think that's the thing where Wesley Snipes really can't run fast in real life, so they had to do some weird trickery to make it look like they had to speed up the film or something like that.
Wow, I did not. I mean, as a kid, I found it convincing. I think he said, I field like Hayes and I run like, or I field like Mays and I run like Hayes, or run like a Hayes. And then every time he would steal a base, he would take his batter's glove and he would nail it to his wall, like in his bedroom, to remind himself that he had stolen a base or something.
No.
Anyway, don't get your accounting advice from Wesley Snipes.
Or
get it
Luke.
from, or me, honestly. Get it from Stephanie. Stephanie says, I also have a free weekly newsletter and a free monthly Zoom the second Saturday of each month. If any of that sounds right for you, I hope you'll look me up at frequentlytaxedquestions.com. That's frequentlytaxedquestions.com. I'll end with a little tax tip for 2026. New this year, people taking the standard deduction can also deduct up to $1,000 of charitable contributions. So give from the heart and save those acknowledgement letters.
Nice.
Signed,
Good
Stephanie.
advice.
Stephanie, thank you again so much for all that you've done for our show and all the support and all you're doing for the tens of listeners. You are absolutely the best. And if I wasn't already doing my taxes with a guy I met who was dressed like a Statue of Liberty in Longview, Washington, I would definitely turn my finances over to you. Maestro?
On your mark.
On your mark.
Get set.
Get set.
Now ready.
Ready. Go.
Everybody ready.
Well, would you look at this? It's none other than my actual brother, the David from the basement. How dare you, even dazzling donor again?
DFTV.
It's David.
In
DFTV.
Linwood.
Up there in beautiful
Washington.
Linwood, Washington.
I forgot that he's not a Seattle boy anymore. But again, I would like to say this publicly. I would still shake David's hand.
I mean, you would probably even consider illegally dumping your trash in his town.
Well,
once they run you out of Shoreline on a rail.
I was going to say. Yes. By the way, you know, the company that I did one time put a smallish bag of shrimp in their dumpster is now out of business. So I might have caused that. But that, again, that's a Shoreline problem. That isn't a problem for David in Linwood.
No. Not at all. David says, what a year it's been, Cobros. Thank you for being my constant companion in the early mornings and overnights as I attempted to get little baby Gemma back to sleep. That is my darling niece, who is rapidly taking over every single piece of surface area in my home environment. Photographs of Gemma. It's like, I just put up this, it's actually very cool. I'm kind of very into it. It's like a wood... It's a handmade artisanal kind of a strip of wood that you can put photographs up in. Like it has a little gap, and then it's got some sort of like, I don't know, something in there so that it'll catch the photograph, but then you can also pull it back out. I've got like 4 photographs of Gemma in there. I've got her on the refrigerator. She is really the star of the show here. My actual daughter, you know, they grow up. 32, it's like, you know, get me a fresh baby for some of these photographs.
Yeah, right.
This marks David's last year as a dazzling donor when I described his daughter as a fresh baby.
Get me a fresh baby, Luke
Yes.
Burbank.
David says, at times it felt like the show was recorded just for me, with the TBTL Badlands carrying us through the Mariners and Seahawks seasons and some of the worst moments in our country's history. You guys offered a crucial respite for us all. I found myself refreshing my podcast feed every afternoon, waiting for the day's episode to drop. Love you guys, and excited for another great year of a TBT Biz Power Out DFTB. Well, David, thank you so much, my younger brother. It's a incredibly sweet, incredibly generous, kind thing to do, and I appreciate it. Again, it's complicated for me because I am the oldest sibling in the family. David is the youngest sibling in the family, and I am supposed to be sponsoring his podcast. But here we are. How the tables have turned, and so David, appreciate you, love you, brother,
for real.
And go Mariners! Can't wait to talk baseball with you this summer, both on and off the air, I'm sure.
Hello and welcome to Top Story.
You actually sent me this story, Andrew. Camel pageant thrown into chaos after 20 competitors disqualified for using hump-plumping injectables.
You know, you don't even really need the rest of the story. I mean, the headline,
honestly, it
is just wonderful.
Doesn't get
on
better
its
from
own.
there.
In fact, is there anything? That's as much as I read. I didn't need to go any further.
Well, it's interesting and a little bit sad, if I'm being honest. And, you know, we've got listeners that, like me, have a lot of animal empathy. By the way, Wes continues to just absolutely carpet bomb my home environment with gifts from PETA.
Oh, really? Just got a pipeline.
Now he's sending me vegan marshmallows and I think some kind of maybe a hot cocoa mix of some kind. I haven't actually opened it all, but I think this was in response to me not liking the nut pods.
Oh, wow. Boy. And so this is negging. When they say negging works, this is what they mean?
He's mogging.
Wait, did you get frame mogged?
I got brutally frame mogged by Wes from PETA. Actually, look, I'm wearing my hat from PETA right now. I'm wearing my Rat Pack hat.
Yeah,
I had to wear this because it is so crazy stormy and windy that to walk from my house to this little converted garage would look like a drowned rat. Anyway, this is kind of like it's a weird story because I would not have known, there's this much money in camel beauty contests. There's this much cheating. Sorry if you see me looking around. We're in like huff and puff and blow your house down kind of like territory up here. Like I feel the building moving a little bit.
Can I examine something you just said? You said you had no idea there's this much money in camel beauty contests, and I'd like to just say I didn't know there were camel beauty contests.
Well, that too. If you woke me up out of a dead sleep and said there are camel beauty contests, I would say, okay, I'll buy it, but I bet you there's not $60 million on the line.
Right?
It's totally insane. It's also kind of a sad story. You prepared me for this. You were like,
I did
you
when
might
I
be
sent
sad
it,
by it. And I
yeah.
was like, whatever, camel humps, who cares? And then I read the whole thing and I was like, man, be nice to these camels.
I know.
guys.
And I was conscientious of that. In fact, I saw the story a couple of days ago and didn't send it to you because I was like, I don't know. I mean, they don't. I did read. I think I read a version of the story. I don't know if it's the one that I sent you, but they didn't get into the gross details of it. But it is a little bit icky to think about, like doing this to animals. And I think they were using kind of products that are used in humans, right? To literally like plump up these humps.
Yeah, that. God, did I step on that?
No,
was that in the clear? I think that was in the clear. I pray that was in the clear.
I can cut it out. I can edit it right out of the show. Put a big
you
beep
do
right
have
over
that
it.
power. You do have final cut on this show. I always forget that. Very clever, Walsh. I took it as some sort of, I guess, small comfort that what they're injecting into the camel's humps are things that American people and I guess people in other countries are voluntarily having injected into their rumpuses.
Yeah, right.
Or the rumps.
They're sending all the camels to Turkey.
right? Getting them turkey teeth, getting there's just a plane full of camels with like a weeping head wound where their hair transplant was put in.
There's a flight back, and it's just all these camels with bandages on their faces.
On their humps.
And their humps.
So these camel beauty contests, again, are like enormously profitable, or at least, the prizes are huge. The 2026 Camel Beauty Show Festival in Oman, they discovered that a number of camels had undergone cosmetic procedures to enlarge the size of their humps using a mix of injectables similar to dermal fillers used on humans. So I guess dermal filler would just mean anything that gets injected, maybe even under parts of your face to kind of like change the shape of it or something like that. Festival organizers say they are working to halt all acts of tampering and deception in the beautification of camels, adding that they would impose strict penalties on manipulations going forward. Again, I don't have do I have the number in front of me? Apparently cheating has been going on for a long time with these things because, again, there's a ton of money on them. There's like millions of dollars in prize money for having $60 million of prize money is at stake at the festival. This part jumped out at me, Andrew. The winning animals usually, so these are, I'm going to read to you the sort of, what would you call it? The criteria, the characteristics that we're looking for in a truly foxy camel, like just a stunner of a camel. The winning animals usually have the shiniest hair, a long muscular neck, long eyelashes. That one seems weird.
And humps that don't stop.
Yeah, humps for days. Long eyelashes, plump lips. Again, I find and then they say, of course, 2 plump and defined humps. For some reason, the long eyelashes and the plump lips are odd to me. I mean, like what? It's a beauty contest. I guess that, when we're watching the Westminster Dog Show, they're judging these dogs on a bunch of, physical characteristics. So it is, similar in that way. But there's just something that's so human about hearing about long eyelashes and plump lips.
Well, I don't.
Like, are you making out with the camel later?
I will admit something here, and hopefully it will be a way of destigmatizing things. But I've always been kind of more of a hoof man.
I have been more of a farrier man.
Have you ever been on WikiHoof? I mean, there are some famous camels on there that I would recommend. No, what is a farrier? I don't know what that means.
I might be saying that wrong. I think that's technically the name for somebody who deals with the hoofs of horses and cows. I don't know if it's different if you do cows versus, because maybe farrier, I think that might mean you're shoeing horses. So maybe that's just specific to horses. But there are these guys, I've talked about this years ago, but there are these guys, they just resurface on my TikTok feed, who are basically like working on cows, that are part of a herd of cattle that have a foot problem. They bring them in, they put their foot up in this little device, and then they go in with these very sharp knives, and they kind of take out, the parts of the hoof that are infected or have problems. Sometimes, and I don't want to be gross, sometimes a massive amount of pus shoots out, and it is awesome because that cow is getting such relief. Because the cow will come hobbling in. They don't even want to put any weight on that hoof because they've gotten a rock in there and it broke the corium. I know the terms now, Andrew. That's what's so crazy. And it's all swollen, and then this guy will go in, and they're very careful. They're very nice to these animals, but they'll go in and cut away the infected part or open up the area, and then like it'll drain. Then they put salicylic, I'm saying that wrong. They put a certain kind of like acid on there that heals it. Then they wrap it with like an ace bandage, but it's like neon green for some reason. And then you watch that cow go walking back out and slowly put pressure on that hoof and realize that it doesn't hurt. Extremely satisfying to watch.
Yeah. It's so hard to see animals like when we're trying to make them feel better.
I
You know what I
know.
mean? But they don't know that there's no way. Even a child can be scared, but you can hopefully explain, like, we're here at the doctor's. We're giving you this shot because it will make you better in some way. And so hopefully there's trust between, child and parent or what have you. But like, there's just no way to convince a cow that as I'm grabbing your leg here that I'm doing it, and you will be happier in 5 or 10 minutes. Now,
I think about that constantly. Like, what is going through this cow's mind as they're being led into this weird contraption, and then one of their hooves is being mechanically raised up.
Yeah.
They do. There's no way they know that this is actually for their own good.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, I've never trimmed a pet's like claws or paws before. I mean, I've never had a dog.
I haven't either. I'm terrified. Becca does it on the cats.
Yeah, Genevieve does it on the cats. Yeah.
I am so afraid of hitting whatever that vein is in there.
And also just thinking about it, and again, like, we don't have a dog now, but I've seen dog paws before, and sometimes when I think about what it must be like to the sensation of getting a device that, and I think that some people, like, I know that groomers will often take care of that for dogs, but I think some dog owners do that themselves, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They get a little Dremel.
I don't think I could handle the thought of what that sensation would be like for me. Even the person, holding the instrument, like it creeps me out too much. I would just do groomers all the way.
Yeah, well, when you guys do get a dog, then you'll just have to. That's another, by the way, another TikTok feed that I really like is this one particular guy who washes scared dogs, like high anxiety dogs, and he is like so sweet to them, and he does such a good job, and he has all these techniques for kind of lowering their anxiety, kind of lets them get used to the water, and kind of they lick the water, or like lets them feel it, does all these. And then he's also, it's like he gives them some kind of a blueberry facial and like de-sheds them and everything, and like just the dogs are so happy when it's all over. That's another feed that I really like watching.
It's funny because I don't, I'm not fed a lot of those things. I'm mostly on Blue Sky anyway, so I'm not seeing a lot of video content the way you are, and I just don't. I don't have any like kind of YouTube obsessions like some people do, or even like, or even on television, like, oh, I love my mystery shows or whatever. I don't have a lot of stuff like that, but it's weird how every now and then, just you're in the right state of mind, the day is constructed so that you have a little bit of dead time, and like whatever all the factors are. But I remember, and this is going back about a year or something, I remember sitting here at my desk and watching, like, I feel like an almost 30-minute video all about one dog that was rescued. And apparently it was on somebody's feed. It's this guy who does this, like, especially like he earns the trust of very scared dogs or whatever. And then I think I started watching follow-up videos about this particular dog. Now, again,
that's how we met.
This YouTube host like has a whole series of these things, and it didn't lead me to end up like kind of engaging more and watching more of his content. God, I hate that word, but I thought it might for a moment because I got so invested on this dog. I was watching follow-ups. I was watching follow-ups about, like, I think a family did end up adopting this dog, and it is amazing how invested you can be. Like, honestly, to use your phrase, like, I would have died for this dog by the end of this video.
Yeah, I get a lot of those too. And the thing that's happening now is it's like, well, there's a couple of weird, it's going to be too hard to even try to explain this, but like with TikTok, there's a lot of like musical kind of reference on things. So there, for a period of time, was this song that would play that was, technically the song was Let the Bodies Hit the Floor by Drowning Pool.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like an insane, like, I'm not into that song. I don't like the message. I don't like anything about it. But it was like, I think it was maybe that laid over maybe like MGMT, whatever, an MGMT. There's these like crazy mashups that happen on TikTok musically where it almost just like changes the entire song and the meaning of it. So I was getting a steady stream of these videos, and it would always be kind of the same thing. It would be a different dog, but it almost made me wonder if it was AI, because it'd be like, it's like there's no talking. It's just someone finds like a very, very tiny, abandoned, emaciated like puppy, and then it's just like 6 months of them feeding the puppy and cleaning, and the puppy getting bigger. All the while, Let the Bodies Hit the Floor is playing under it for some totally bizarre reason.
I want to hear this so bad. It wouldn't be Let the Bodies whimsically hit the floor, would it? That's what.
Try it. Try. No.
No.
Is that Fred Willard on the hurdy-gurdy?
I didn't know what I was getting into there. That's obviously not it. It's something more subtle than that. I wasn't trying to spoof you there. I'm legitimately trying to find this.
No,
thing.
I wonder if I can find. Did you put in like TikTok? Let the bodies hit the floor.
Mashup. Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah,
and,
that's what I would have put in.
I put in something else first, and that's what that called up. This is now saying a Benny Hill mashup. That's probably what we just heard. I'm guessing there was some yakety sax in there. I think, but I mean,
but basically, it follows the same kind of. It sort of follows the exact same series of events. It's always like very, very, and it often it seems like maybe this isn't in America, just based on kind of the background and things like that. But it's like, again, it's with the bodies hit the floor is playing, and at some point I was like, is this AI? Because how many adorable dogs can be found? How many adorable puppies can be found and then nursed back to health? Oh, and by the way, the people doing the nursing back to health were often like a pretty attractive guy in his 20s, which seems like a weird person to be doing this to me. Just isn't the demo I would guess at for this. So I was like, are there like YouTube influencers now, or whatever you call TikTok influencers, who figured out that like the way to get clicks is just like roam around Venezuela looking for like flea-bitten dogs and then rescue them and bring them back? I mean, listen, if the outcome is a flea-bitten dog gets a good home and gets cleaned, I got no problem with that. But anyway, I'm getting that content too, whether it's real or not.
So as you know, as I keep reiterating, I don't spend a lot of time on TikTok, although I would say in the past, I don't know, several months, maybe slightly more time on TikTok than I used to. But keep in mind that's going from almost like 0 to just a little bit by most people's standards. But I'm not like totally off the platform. I'll bet you I open it at least once a day now, and that didn't used to be the case. It used to be like maybe once every couple of months, like quite literally. But it is interesting how. You know me, I'm a control freak when it comes to digital stuff, as well as just everything in my life. And I've never been fully comfortable with the fact that I can't control the feed. It's all based on what you've paused on, which I know is both kind of the interesting thing, and it is actually, I do find it sort of intellectually fascinating that that's how it works. But sometimes you kind of want to back away from something, and instead of like just being able to say, I'm no longer interested in this content, I want to sign up for this person's stuff, which you can do, you have to sort of actively like show it that you don't like certain things by passing it up too quickly. So anyway, I don't know, I'm wasting your time about how TikTok works, but it's a weird feeling for me. But one thing, and I don't know what this says about me, other than I must have paused on it too long at one point, but now I'm kind of into it, and I'm wondering if you're ever served this too. But are you getting just like live DJ sets? Like, how you can go live on TikTok?
I see those all the time, and I skip them so quickly
because you don't want them. I think I used to feel that way, but I must have just stayed on somebody's for a while, because now I get them, and Luke, I kind of like it because it's weird. It's like I never listen to club music. You know that about you. Know this. You know this. That's not my kind of music.
Come down from there.
But there is something about watching somebody do it live. Now, I'm not going out to the club, but to watch somebody, spin live or something like that. But like, there is something about like, oh, well, I wouldn't usually watch this, and then sometimes I will actually just put the phone down and just like listen to it for a while I'm doing dishes or something like that. And I just never thought like I would be watching live electronic DJ sets like while I'm doing dishes. I have access to all kinds of music like this via streaming services and radio that I would never engage with. But for some reason, the TikTokiness sort of got me into it. And now I'm kind of like, yeah, okay, I'll let this roll. I'll let this ride.
I could see that actually being kind of a fun soundtrack to whatever you're doing. My problem is that I have some weird, deep dislike for any live stream that's happening ever. So if I'm scrolling through TikTok, I like seeing things where it's like a guy trying to land a skateboard jump that's really hard, but he already tried to do this. They filmed it, now they're showing us the film. There's something about a person being on there like, thank you for the likes, thank you for the shamrocks, and thank you for that like makes me feel deeply unsettled, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
But that's just like the person who's just like sitting somewhere with a bunch of trading cards in front of them, they're card breaking, which I know some of our listeners love, and I should on paper love that. Or, just a person who's doing whatever on there and interacting with these kind of like unseen, people that are watching it and giving, I don't know if it's real money or just like something that works within TikTok. I don't know how any of that works, but I just get a weird feel. It feels like less fun QVC to me. Oh, because also they're often selling something, not the DJs, but a lot of the other people are.
You put your finger on something here because I've scrolled past a few of the card breaking things or something. Now, me, just as a rule, I actually lean towards something that's live. I think that does spark something in me. I'm like, oh, this is live. But I know what you mean with the card opening, like the sound, the ASMR of it all is not especially nice. But now that you actually break down this point, one of the things that maybe I like about the DJs is it does remind me a little bit of like when I used to live in LA and I would listen to some like Morning Becomes Eclectic or whatever. And there was this thing the DJs would always do, which was like they'd have the music playing, but they would like just sort of like play the music, pump it up a bit, then bring it down and then talk into the mic, over the music. And it's like their voice is a little bit buried. And there's something almost soothing about it, I feel like, when the DJs do it on TikTok. And maybe that's even, I don't know if I would have recognized that, but maybe that's one of the things that I'm drawn to is it's kind of like, it's not just like this rat-a-tat-tat of like, thanks you for the shamrocks or whatever, like you just said, but it's more like the music's playing, then they'll pull it back down. It's like, oh, Benny Hill in the comments, thanks, and then put it back up.
Whimsical, whimsical, let the bodies hit the floor.
Right. You know what I mean? The fact that they're kind of doing it in the rhythm and the right people can do it sort of calming. I don't know, like that might even be something that I liked about it.
Here I go once again with the email. Every week, I hope that it's from a female. Oh, man, it's not from a female.
All right, let's do some emails and V-mails before we get out of here. I am going to be down in Portland tonight at Hopscotch. If you are looking for something to do tonight to get out of the cold and the rain and the nightmare weather, we're doing a Livewire speakeasy. The guest will be Avery Trufelman, the host of Articles of Interest, an amazing podcast about clothing. And then also Johnny Franco and his real brother Dom will be the musical guests. And so anyway, that's what I'm doing, but not before we do some emails or emails. Can I lay one on you from listener Lauren, Andrew, on the subject of asked and answered?
Oh, yeah, I read this. This is good.
So that came up on the show, I think, maybe last week. And I basically said, like, I've never understood what that actually means, asked and answered. And in fact, I think when I took over as the host of Livewire, speaking of Livewire, that was maybe even the tagline for the show, asked and answered or something. And I was always like, I don't know what that means. Well, here's what Lauren says. Hi, guys. I'm a day behind, so apologies if you've already heard from all the other lawyers and addressed this on Friday's show. But your question about where the phrase asked and answered comes from at the beginning of Thursday's show made me feel compelled to write in. Asked and answered is an objection that a lawyer would make during a hearing where a witness is being examined or cross-examined. When a witness gives an answer that is really helpful to the case that the lawyer questioning them is trying to make, we, lawyers, like to try to get them to repeat that answer multiple times, to lock them in, and B, really emphasize it to the judge or jury. So, for example, should we role play this, Andrew? You don't have the email
I don't know if I
you.
have the email in front of me. I can look, but it would take me a second.
And I'm going to have to do all of it. That's
You're
fine.
Like,
I can pull it off.
Nina Totenberg.
Exactly. Justice Breyer.
Mm-hmm.
Justice Sotomayor.
This does sort of have that energy the way it is sort of written out, don't you think?
Yes.
It's sort of like, here, I have it here. Do you want me to?
You've got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
so do you want me to be...
Will you be the witness and I'll be lawyer A?
Yeah, let me be a witness.
Okay. So this is the example that Lauren is giving for basically how a lawyer is trying to ask the same question a bunch of times of a witness so as to lock them in on a statement and also really, really emphasize this for the judge or the jury. So I'm lawyer A. Just imagine me, Andrew. I've got suspenders on. It's real like Clarence Darrow energy, real Inherit the Wind, real Scopes monkey trial kind of deal.
Who's going to be lawyer B? If you're lawyer A and I'm the witness, we need lawyer. Where's Bingo?
Oh,
I don't
okay,
know that.
get him in
I don't think Bingo's up for this. To be 100% with you.
I'll be lawyer B.
Okay. Can you?
No,
do
that's too confusing. You be lawyer B.
Can I
You're
have to do-
witness.
okay.
You went from having no role in this play to having the two main leads, and I don't like it.
Okay, so I'm
Always
going to be
happens.
lawyer
How you stole that
B
goldfish
as well.
gig from
Yeah,
me.
exactly. Now I got to it gets more complicated because now I have to sort of like switch characters, which means I need to have more like kind of defined lines around each character.
I'm sure you've written a character study for lawyer, for witness and lawyer B.
I'm working
right?
on it now. Yes,
You just refer to your character study on them.
Okay, sounds good. You know what I need though is I need about a year of being a witness to prepare for this. But okay, we'll just do it cold.
Okay, let's see here. All right, and in 3, 2, I am a lawyer A, and I'm now interviewing the witness, played by Andrew. What color shirt was he wearing?
He was wearing a blue shirt.
Was it a light blue or a dark blue?
It was a dark blue, like navy blue.
A navy blue?
Yes.
You're sure it was a navy blue and not another color? And here's where lawyer B comes in.
Asked and answered.
Hey, that was pretty good, Andrew.
Thank you. They were different characters. Could you tell I was doing different
I
characters?
could, yeah. You had a totally different voice for lawyer B. I like that. So lawyer B is objecting because the witness has already said twice that it was a navy blue shirt.
Yeah.
Judges sometimes give some leeway, and attorneys will try to get really creative about rephrasing the question so it sounds a little different, but elicits the same answer. Very technically, this is not an objection allowed by the rules of evidence, but that has truly never stopped anybody. So, asked and answered basically just means the question has been asked and the answer has been given and we can move on.
Now, I love this explanation, by the way. I think that's really interesting. But it also did become a sort of internet speak for a while, and I don't really love it as internet speak. Ironically, this came up because I posted something, but I thought I was using it like kind of appropriately. It was we don't have to rehash this, but somebody had hit a home run in a baseball game, and then I posted a picture, and the guy's name was Perkins, and so I posted a picture of somebody asking, is Perkins still good? And so I wrote asked and answered. This person asked it, and now this ball player just answered it. I think it's okay in times like that when I do it, but there is something about the asked and answered that is a little bit sorry, not sorry, and nothing, well, I wouldn't say nothing, but a few things put me on edge so much as somebody saying sorry, not sorry. And the fact that it was, not to slam the people who made this decision, but like, if I were walking into a new radio show and they told me that the catchphrase is asked and answered, I would try to get that changed as well.
Yeah, I mean, I just got everyone who wasn't me fired, and so eventually I was able to name. I was able to do the tagline. So
I understand where they're coming from, though. Hey, this is a show where we ask questions and questions are answered. It's kind of interesting, but it's just so. It's so of a very specific moment in internet culture that I think you got to be careful tagging yourself with that, unless you're willing to kind of change it up every couple of years.
Right, which is why Livewire's new catchphrase is brutally frame-mogging the guests since 2026. Something that will
well, that's timeless.
It doesn't matter if you're chopped or you're unk. Low key,
right?
It's giving Livewire vibes. Something like that that's just timeless, right?
Exactly. I love it.
All right, that's going to do it.
This week's guest, clavicular.
I mean, I'm not done talking about clavicular, by the way.
Good.
Like, I've got more thoughts that haven't been explored.
I'm not done listening.
Okay, good. Maybe we'll take that up tomorrow because we are done for today, but we will be back here tomorrow with more Imaginary Radio. So please, if you can, join us for that. In the meantime, have a great Wednesday, everybody. Try to stay dry if you're here in the Pacific Northwest, and we'll see you tomorrow. Please remember, no mountain too tall.
And good luck to all.
Power out.